Alright, chapter 4.2, which will probably represent the majority of your work this week. Again, make sure you work to master this stuff because with the pace that we're going, if you do not master it and something comes up, again, I can expect that you should know it because you're going to have plenty of time to practice this stuff on your own and ask questions. There are two types of pattern in this chapter. We talked about linear pattern, which has a consistent rate and looks like a line. Nonlinear pattern, which typically has some sort of curve or turn. Today we're going to focus on linear patterns. More importantly, we're going to focus on identifying and generating a rule for the patterns. So, essential question, why is it important to identify patterns? In order to master the skill of analysis, which again is what this is about, it is important that you're able to anticipate what will happen outside of your own visible window. Imagine your earnings for the first 4 days of work. First day you earn 5, second day you earn 6, third day you earn 7, fourth day you earn 8. You should have the ability to determine what you'll make on your 15th day or your 55th day if this pattern continues. It's easy enough to know your 5th day is going to be 9, 6th day is going to be 10, and you could use a long pattern, but does that really help when I want to find out what I'll be making on the 55th day to keep making a pattern of things? Nope, because there's a formula that you can typically make a rule and just plug it in and get your answer that you're looking for. Okay? Alright. We will use the word rate of change to describe how a function is changing, rising, falling, or flat. Algebra itself will use the letter m to denote rate of change. It's also called slope, but we'll get into all that later. Finding m is easy enough using basic subtraction. First thing you want to check on whenever you find m is what is my x doing? Notice x is going plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So x is increasing by 1, which means in this case I can ignore x. Make sure you understand that. I can only ignore it because it's going 0, 1, 2, 3. So all I have to do is 6 minus 2, which is 4. 10 minus 6, which is 4. 14 minus 10, which is 4. So in this case, m is 4. Because I got the same number, it must be linear. M is 4. In this one here, again, notice my x is going 1, 2, 3, 4, so I can ignore my x's because they're moving up regularly, but I do have 11 minus 4, which is 7, 18 minus 11, which is 7, 25 minus 18, which is 7. This is where me and my favorite students, which is being sarcastic, will disagree. Somebody's going to say, well, 2 minus 6 is negative 4, but notice I did second minus first, second minus first, second minus first. That's for a reason. Second minus first, second minus first, second minus first. We will always do second minus first because it gives me the actual rate of change. Notice if you do 2 minus 6, you get the answer of negative 4, which makes you think the numbers are going down. But as x is going up, guess what y is also doing, which is going up. It should be a positive 4, and so that's why you want to make sure you do that. So again, always do second minus first in the table to find your m, or in the points to find your m. So again, 11 and 4, 18 minus 11, and so on will get you what you're looking for. Sometimes finding m is just a little bit tricky, and this is at the end of your homework. But again, it doesn't hurt because it's really not that bad. In this case, x is not moving like it's supposed to, so we're going to do second minus first, second minus first, second minus first. And you're going to do the same thing here. 9 minus 3 is 6, 19 minus 9 is 10. I'm sorry, that should be, real quick, hold on, before you copy this. It should be 12, so it should be 21. No. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I messed up on this. Let me pause this for a moment. Look at that magic. It should be a 18 in that box. Should be a 30 in this box. But other than that, 18 minus 9 is 9. 30 minus 18 is 12. So it looks like this is not linear. But the only reason why we could ignore our x's over here is because it was 1. And I want you to think back to what I just did. Again, this is common sense we're working on here and trying to use it. I gotta grab this sheet though. What is 4 divided by 1? It's 4. What is 4 divided by 1? It's 4. What is 4 divided by 1? It's 4. So whenever it's moving by 1, you don't need to divide by 1. But this is not moving by 1, so what you want to do here is take these two numbers and divide them to find your rate of change for those two. Here we're going to do 9 divided by 3, which is 3. Here we are going to do 12 divided by 4, which is also 3. And in that case, it means that m is 3. This is linear, it just doesn't look linear because these numbers are not moving in a straight pattern. You won't see this a lot, but you need to be ready for this because next chapter you are going to need to know how to do that part. The important thing to remember is that m determines everything in your linear function, so you have to know how to find it. Again, my stubborn students, my favorite students, the ones that are like, well, I don't really need it today, so I won't ask questions. Okay, go ahead. But as soon as everything comes down and you don't know it, you are going to be messed up for the whole section. Another important piece of today's work another important is memorizing the following formula. We will learn it formally in Chapter 5, but again, it's easy enough to work with, so we will actually start to see it here. Write this formula down. It is the rule generating formula, y equals mx plus b. We know what y is. It's typically the second number in the table. See? We know what x is. It's typically the first number in the table. We know that m represents rate of change. B is something else, and that's actually what we're going to be trying to find. We will talk about what B is in the next chapter, but for right now, let's just use it and do what we need to do there. So this formula has 4 variables. The formula we're talking about is y equals mx plus b. It has a y, a m, a x, and a b. That's 4 letters, 4 variables. Our job is to use the 3 that we know to identify the one that we do not know. Alright, so again, with that said, we are going to do that work. Give me a second, I just got a text from my wife. Sorry about that, that was kind of important. Here's what happens. There are 4 variables that we can't do any kind of solving for, but we do know the value of x, we know the value of y, and we know the value of m, which means that there's really only one variable, because what we're going to do here is plug in what we know. Y is 7, so put a 7 in for y. M is 2, so because it's attached to x, I'm going to use parentheses. X is 1, and we do not know b. But again, moving in what we can do, 2 times 1 turns into 2. In terms of solving, I know that I can move this 2 by subtracting it from both sides. And therefore you know that b is 5. And that's it. That is the process that you need to learn and master by Friday. And I think that you should have it mastered by Friday because, again, you don't have a lot of material going through this week, so make sure you're ready to go. Other than that, you only need one ordered pair and m to find the value of b. Because, again, you need y, you need x, and you need an m. The rule of the function is found by substituting m and b into the generating formula. So, looking back at this, m is 2, b is 5. You don't need to write this yet. But m is 2, b is 5. So what we would do is put y equals 2x plus 5. And that would be my rule generating formula. Sorry you couldn't see that. Or could you? I don't know. But other than that, like I said, that is what you would do to end it. You find m, you find b, you put m back in here, you put b back over there, and that is it. But there are questions on your homework that are designed to make you think a little bit, so just keep that in mind. So when they want you to represent it using an equation, that means they want a rule. So what you would do is y equals mx plus b. Do we have a y? We have a bunch. Do we have an x? Yes. Do we have a m? No. And so in order to do this, we have to find m. Notice that your x's are going 1, 2, 3, 4, so we can ignore it because that's just divided by 1. This is going plus 4, up 4, up 4. That means that m is 4. So what you will do is pick one point. I usually pick the top one. That is my y, that is my x, that is my m. I plug them in. Y is 3, so 3 equals 4 times 1 plus b. 3 equals 4 plus b. Subtract 4. You get negative 1 for b. And again, to answer that, you take these two things and simply plug them into the mx plus b. So that would be 4x minus 1. And just to show you, watch what happens when I plug these numbers in. When I plug this, 4 times 1 minus 1. Notice I get the answer of 3, which is what y is. Notice that if I put 4 parentheses 2 minus 1, I get the answer of 7, which means it works. If I put 4 parentheses 3 minus 1, I get 11, which is what that's supposed to be. 4 parentheses 4 minus 1, which is 15, which is what I'm supposed to get. So this is generating these numbers. That means that if I wanted to know what happens at x equals 17, all I have to do is put 17 in. and I would find out that it would be 17, 67. That goes back to that question about how much you would make on the 55th day. Anything like that, you can actually anticipate anything as long as you know your x. Now, we will eventually use algebra to find the other direction, but again, that's not so bad. Just make sure you understand how to use the y equals mx plus b. Again, write a rule that represents the function. In this case, we'll have to think a little bit because it's not as easy. But notice that my x's are going 0, 1, 2, 3. So the good news is I can ignore my x's. But remember, we do second minus first equals 6. We do second minus first, which is also 6. And 11 minus 5 is 6. That means that m is equal to 6. Now, once I have my m, I set up my rule generator. I pick one point. Doesn't matter which point you pick, and I'll prove that by working on another one. But this, -7 is y, 6 is m, 0 is x, plus b. -7 equals 0 plus b, and anytime you have 0 plus b, it is just going to be b. So my answer here is y equals, remember you want these two numbers, 6x minus 7. But just to prove it, I'll pick a number like 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll use this one. And if I was to use that one, it would be 11 equals 6 times 3 plus b. You don't have to do the second one, but I'm showing you that it doesn't matter which point you pick, but you must pick one. And I suggest that when you pick it, you circle it so you don't get confused as to what you're working with. Anyway, 11 equals 18 plus b. Subtract 18, 11 minus 18 is -7. You still get the answer of 6x minus 7 because this is my generator. Again, just to prove it's my generator, 6 times 0 minus 7 gives me -7. 6 times 1 minus 7 gives me -1. 6 times 2 minus 7 gives me 5. 6 times 3 minus 7 gives me 11. What if I wanted to know what would be with the point 82, comma what? All I have to do is go 6 parentheses 82 minus 7 because I have my rule generator, and see that I'm going to get 485. That is what my rule generator does. Okay? So in the end, just remember, you are going to experience some frustration during your preparation, or you'll experience during your performance. But you're going to experience at some point. Some of you last quarter experienced it during your, or felt the frustration during your during your performance, because you did not frustrate yourself enough in preparation. Think about someone who is about to sing a song. They're either going to practice a lot and get mad during their practice, but they're going to perform well because they practice very well, or they're going to not practice at all or have fun practicing, and then they're not going to be ready, and they're going to be frustrated when everything goes wrong here. I suggest you put your frustration here because it minimizes frustration here. So hopefully you choose to fight before it counts. Again, hopefully you don't decide to fall behind again. If you are taking your test or quiz on Monday, that is an issue. I suggest that you try to take your test for this whole quarter Friday or Saturday, because that gives you room for error. That gives you room to kind of breathe. If you are taking your test on Monday, that means that you're taking a test on Monday, but you're not going to want to learn anything until Tuesday, and then all of a sudden things start to stack up and you just keep pushing back and pushing back. Try your best to make good decisions, and we will be good to go. But other than that, this is the notes, or the written notes of what I have there. If you want to copy it, don't forget to answer the question at the end of the video so you can get your credit for watching the video. Good luck.